going to start off by saying welcome to everyone who was able to make it to this call. Happy New Year and welcome to NAMIC Virginia's first event of the year. We are so excited to have you here. And again, as you're logging in, please let us know in the chat where you are signing in from. I hope that you are all doing well and taking time to celebrate and learn more about Black History Month. So on this day, the 11th day of Black History Month, did you know that Nelson Mandela was released from a South African prison after being held for 27 years as a political prisoner? Additionally, did you know that on this 11th day in 1976, that Clifford Alexander Jr. was confirmed as the first African-American Secretary of the United States Army? So I encourage you to take time to learn all there is to know about this important and history-making month, not just this month, but every month. The NAMIC chapters are hosting a month-long celebration of Black history events with some amazing lineups. Last week, it was the NAMIC Southern California chapter with Producers Corner, and they shared some amazing stories of perseverance and triumph from producers in the industry. Today, the NAMIC Virginia chapter is next in the lineup, hearing from an up-and-coming leader, Glennis Midget, where she will share how she was able to navigate her career and share her tips for success. Glennis will have a candid conversation with Dr. David Arrington, who is a friend and past presenter of NAMIC Virginia. Some of you may remember him from our event in 2019 called Power of Focus, or maybe you attended our Are You Promotable event in May 2020 with the Cox Black and African American ERG. Drop a comment in the chat if you attended one or both of those events. Dr. Arrington is the principal of Arrington Coaching, which aligns with his stated mission, which is to impact an entire generation of leaders, which is why he formed his leadership firm. He is a much sought after coach, speaker, leadership trainer, and author of Promotable: How to Demonstrate Your Value, Highlight Your Potential, and Land Your Next Promotion. So if you don't have that book, I encourage you to go purchase it. You can learn more about him on arringtoncoaching.com or get a free course on arringtontraining.com. Dr. Arrington has the unique skill of creating a comfortable and safe space to allow others to share their innermost thoughts. I introduce to you Dr. Arrington.
Thank you so much, Lakeisha. It is a pleasure being here, and welcome everyone to this Black History Month candid conversation featuring Glennis Midget and hosted by NAMIC Virginia, where we are putting our best collective foot forward. I have the privilege, you know, hey, we always have these moments. I have the privilege of introducing Glennis, and I can read her bio to you now. Glennis Midget has had the pleasure to work with Cox for over 18 years. She is currently the supervisor for the receivables management back office team. She oversees a team that handles payment research, refunds, deposits corrections, and paper check returns for our residential customers. While Glennis has had various roles at Cox, her knowledge of the back office processes, her perseverance, and her ability to learn quickly promoted her from team member to lead, now to supervisor, all in the same department. Glennis played an intricate role in the development and testing of the residential automated bot that processes automated refunds. She was also a panelist on the Thrive ERG Building Momentum panel, which focused on new leaders, their challenges, and how they overcame them. Glennis is a 1-year breast cancer survivor and the proud mother of 2 daughters who both are interested in pursuing careers in the medical field. She truly believes that there is a lesson to be learned in every interaction. It's up to us to determine that lesson and to positively act upon it. That's a great sentiment, Glennis. Absolutely great sentiment. Now, here's the thing. We have gotten to know Glennis a little bit professionally, but let's find out a little bit more about her personally. So this question is the first question of our moderation, and I need you to all buckle in. This is a very serious question, a lot of depth and gravity here, so I hope you're prepared. If you're standing, please sit. Glennis, if you could
Yes.
take an all expense paid trip anywhere, where would you go and who would you take?
Wow, that is a tough question, Dr. Arrington. um, well, all expense paid with anyone, and actually, I'm going to take several people with me. I hope that's okay.
Hey, you
And I'm
make
taking
the
several
rules here.
people because I'm taking several people because it's all expense paid.
Sure.
So,
I like how you
so
think.
one, yes, I think I would probably just go to Jamaica. That's a place that I really like to go to. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my girls, my daughters, and I'm taking them because we always do 2 trips a year. And so that's going to be one of the trips already right there. So we do usually a spring break and a summer vacation. So that's one of the trips already paid for. I think we're going to bring Denzel Washington along just so I can have some eye candy on my shoulder,
Nice.
on my
Nice.
arm. And plus he has money, so I need the extra money for us to go shopping.
You seem to have thought a bit
So,
about this. This seems like this didn't catch you off guard. You seem to have had this all worked out for quite a while now. Okay.
yeah, maybe that'll happen.
So was there anyone else you wanted to bring along?
That would be
That's
it.
it. You said that's the perfect group right there. Got it.
That's
Got
it.
it. Nice. Jamaica with Denzel and your daughters. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, and I see everybody's enjoying that as well. I think everybody's enjoying that.
I
So
better not tell Mike about that though. So
no, I wouldn't. I'd keep this. This is just between us friends. No one else. This is just here.
Okay.
This is a private conversation. It's a safe space. It's a safe space.
Hmm.
So let me shift a little bit and ask
Okay.
you about where you are now in your supervisory role. So
Okay.
the first question I know most people would ask is, what advice would you share with others who are interested in climbing that ladder or in career advancement?
Okay. Wow. Well, some advice that I would share, it's really several things. One of the things is that you need to make yourself visible. Let your leader know that you're interested in growth, that you're interested in being a leader. Look for special projects. Join organizations. And when you join the organization, make sure that you're present and active in them. Don't just join the organization to say that you're in something. So be active and present. I know with today's society, well, before the pandemic, we used to do things like job shadowing. So now we know that's a little bit difficult. But if you know that there's a place that a department rather, that you're interested in moving on to, then you should reach out to the leaders in that department. Set up a meeting so that you can ask questions about the job functions and how the department works. And that's going to give you that visibility as well. Another thing would be to just keep a positive attitude. Attitude means everything. When things don't go your way, you still have to keep that positive attitude. Next thing would be to speak up. Don't let anyone else take your shine away from you. So speaking up in meetings and things when you think you know the answer, but you're just kind of timid and unsure, it's up to you to step away from that fear so that you can be seen. So don't let anyone else take your shine. And I got this one from you in your May, are you promotable? Be a relationship builder. So you want to make memorable connections with both of you, where both of the parties are going to walk away with something that they can take away, something that they've gained. And also remember that it's not who knows you, not who you know, but it's who knows you.
That is exactly.
And it is also who remembers you as well. Another thing is, don't let the word no stop you. I have a phrase that I really instill in my girls, and I kind of keep it handy, and it's called, it states, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And I'll say it again, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So that door got closed in your face, you didn't get that job, but guess what? You got the experience. So now you keep on pushing forward to the next thing or the next opportunity comes along. So don't let no stop you. Next thing is going to be, make sure you have your 30-second elevator speech. Always got to have that speech, because you never know who you're going to land in the elevator with, beside in the cafeteria or wherever. So make sure you are able to give that speech where it just tells a little bit about who you are, the department you're in, things that you like that's going well about the company, and things that you think that you can bring value or bring to the table. So those are just a few things that I think could really help with people interested in advancement.
And you gave a lot of great suggestions there. You gave a lot of good advice. I wanted to zone in on one. I like that you said you've got to be visible, because that's absolutely true. If people don't know you're there, they will never promote you. So that's 100% true. I wanted to double down, or at least get your take, dig in a little bit more. You said, let your supervisor know you're interested in moving up. That's interesting. Why, as a supervisor now, right? Because you've used this in your own experience, but now as a supervisor, how do you take that, and what are you expecting from the people that you manage?
So I say that because being a supervisor, I know that the supervisor can help you get the visibility that you need, can help you build relationships, help you network, help you get those projects, because you can get on a project that many other departments and senior leaders are on, and that's going to really, be valuable to you in the future for wherever you may want to go. Exactly. So that is really a big piece in letting your supervisor know, so that they can help to get you, get your brand out there.
And I just want to I'm going to stay here for just a second longer, because what does that conversation look like? What do I say to my supervisor to let them know I want to move up? Because it sounds so simple in theory till you actually try to say those words in real life. So what would you want to hear from someone you manage if they were looking to move up, if they were looking for career advancement? What would you want to hear?
Okay. Hi, Glennis. I just want to know if I can talk with you for a second. And of course you can. I just want to let you know that I am interested in moving up. I'm interested in maybe being a lead or being a supervisor. And I just want to know if you can give me some pointers on what I can do or point me in the right direction. So it's just simple as that, just asking for the direction, and it goes from there. And believe me, your supervisor will really jump on it and be happy to help you.
That's amazing. And thank you for that, because a lot of people will ask that question. They'll hear this great advice, but they won't know how to execute it. So thank you. That's excellent answer. So let me ask you another question. What are some tools that you can share that you found useful in your career journey so far?
Okay. Well, there are quite a few tools that I found useful. Of course, one of the main tools is, like I mentioned before, it's going to be cross-training or job shadowing. And this can be done in today's world now, through email and asking questions and setting up meetings, but also getting a mentor or a mentee. So one thing is it's good for you to actually give that knowledge and experience back to someone, but on the same notion, you want to continue to gain that knowledge from someone else. So you do want to stay coachable as well. So always be willing to learn and relearn, and also to teach. Looks like we're getting a little bit of feedback from someone.
Sounds like somebody's it looks like Denine's iPad is live. So please continue, Glennis. I think we're gonna make it. Okay. I think iPod. Denine had nothing to do with that. It's all her iPad's fault. So
it's an iPad's fault.
Yeah, we've nailed it. We got it.
Yes. So no, just say stay coachable.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to learn and continue to learn and relearn, and then you have to be able to teach. So everything that you're learning, make sure that you're putting that into play. Actually, I just had a team meeting coming right into this meeting before now, and one of the things I showed a video on being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And there are so many instances where leaders are put into situations where they are uncomfortable. All eyes are on them. You have to make decisions. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's the only way that you're going to continue to grow.
Excellent. Yeah.
And another thing is, another thing would be seeking feedback about strengths and weaknesses. And you can get that feedback from your peers. You can get it from other leaders. You can get it from your team. And you can get it from, your managers. So seeking that feedback is something that's really needed. And then lastly, I'm going to step back into the continuous learning and never stop growing, because you can do that through seminars, through books, through podcasts, online courses, and of course, learn at Cox. So those are some of the tools that I found necessary during my career journey.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So let me just kind of dive into the feedback from others. Isn't that kind of scary though? If you ask for feedback, they may not say nice things. How am I supposed to take that? I know I'm a rock star. What if they don't think I'm a rock star? How should I handle this feedback? Should I even ask? Because it may not be what I want to hear.
And that is very true. But as I say, sometimes the truth may hurt, but that hard truth is also what's needed in order to develop and grow. So you have to be able to take that criticism and use it to your advantage so that you can move forward and persevere through that. The feedback doesn't necessarily have to be something that's done face-to-face. It can be done through an anonymous survey, but as long as you're getting that feedback so that you know how you're doing, because you have to have it. If you don't know where you stand.
Mm-hmm. I see someone in the chat said the most valuable feedback is the feedback you don't want to hear, right? So,
absolutely.
And there is the reality. And so let's just put this out there as well. You can do everything right and still not move up. So it still takes a lot of work to do all the right things, and you've got to manage up at some point. So let me shift right there.
Right.
Let me ask, have you ever had the opportunity to manage up? And if so, how did you maneuver through it?
Okay. Well, and I guess to say managing up for me, I didn't really understand that I was managing up until recently. So I was thinking managing up was just about you giving feedback to your leader. Mm-hmm. But I know managing up is a little bit more than that now. It's about you both getting to a common goal for the better of the company. And so I guess I have managed up. I guess I can say that, yes, I have managed up. While I haven't actually given my my manager hard feedback because I haven't had the need to, I've given feedback to him because he's asked for it. And so I didn't consider that really managing up. However, I have actually, there have been instances where I've provided more details to approach something so that we can make the team run smoother. Another thing is just that I'm sorry, trying to get my thoughts together.
Happens to
with managing up. Managing up is you also have to kind of remember that your boss is seeing the bigger scope or the bigger picture, and so it's my job to also show that narrow scope and the other picture, so that everything comes full circle. Mm-hmm. And so in order to do that, I have to make sure that that dialogue stays open, asking questions, letting him know that I'm interested in us coming to a common goal.
Sure.
Using words such as we and all of that to make sure that he knows that this is for the organization and not just for my benefit. And making sure that when I am, talking and when we're in that setting, that it's all about voice tone, and it's all about also trying to provide a solution if I have feedback to give or if I want to go a different approach.
Mm-hmm. And those are all excellent ways. And it's sometimes we forget that managing up is something as simple as coming to your supervisor and letting them know you want to be used in different roles on the team, or go into a higher level in the organization. You are looking for that team lead. So what you were saying already is managing up. It happens so frequently and so often, and clearly it's happened a lot in your experience, that it's something you almost take for granted. Right? Those conversations, in every conversation, good leaders know that they're working with people that are competent and capable and that are good at their jobs. So that's great. Managing up happens. Sometimes it does show up as those hard, here's what we need to do. Here's what's messed up. And a lot of times it shows up as those softer moments where you're just sharing an idea here or a thought there like you were sharing. So let me ask you another question. How do you celebrate your team's accomplishments when good things happen? We often talk about when bad things happen, but when good things happen, Glennis, what do you do to continue to motivate your team and keep morale high?
Right. Well, the one thing that I really, really am a stickler with is making sure that I say thank you every single day, because people don't know that thank you goes a long way. So for me, I express gratitude daily, just by letting them know thank you for your hard work and that you're appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another thing is that our accomplishments are celebrated through what we call Amplify, and that's where we send recognition, and it goes out to the leader and actually out to the person who we're celebrating. And we also can send points as well, where they can actually purchase items for their accomplishments. So that's the way. Another thing is that it's celebrated through email. We may send an email out, to the team saying that so-and-so has done this. We verbally celebrate this in our huddles and our team meetings. And then sometimes I'm going to say storytelling. And I say storytelling because if something's happened, I'll go to the person and I'll say, I hope that it's okay that I, mention this. And so then I'll go ahead and mention it in the team meeting, or I'll have them to actually tell the story of what actually happened so that they can be celebrated that way.
Excellent. So
But for me, go ahead.
No, please. I thought you were done. I was just going to summarize. Keep going.
No, you're fine. No, I was just going to say that for me, just the most important thing I just really say is just expressing gratitude and saying thank you daily for a job well done.
That's excellent. And when you keep telling those good stories and keep patting people on the back, it's definitely, these are triggers for high performance, which you already
Absolutely.
know that. It's going to help your people work more effectively, be more bought into the overall goal and mission of the team, and even be more bought into you as a leader. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating your team is critical. So how do we do that? Let's just shift to like now, right? We talked about celebrating teams, but how do you do that in a virtual environment when you can't see one another? When, we've all been working at home, feels like, forever, but it's only been a year now. How do you celebrate your team? How do you support them in a virtual environment?
Wow. So the support that I provide in a virtual environment hasn't changed too much, because actually before the pandemic, half of my team was already virtual. But the one thing that I do make sure is that I'm always available. So the lines of communication are always open, and that is a must, especially in a virtual environment. So we often communicate through Microsoft Teams, through emails, even through text and phone calls. So that daily connection is always there. Another thing is just regular scheduled meetings. We have calibrations, which we all get together just to make sure that we stay aligned on everything, that we're up to date on all new information, all processes, all procedures. And the one thing that I've actually come up with is that we actually have a Friday huddle. This Friday huddle has absolutely nothing to do with work. It's just a way for us to stay connected, since we no longer have that interaction in the office at all. And so we discuss what's happening for the weekend. We discuss our kids. We discuss recipes and cooking. It's just open dialogue for anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes. And it just seems to keep us so much more connected. And then lastly, once a month, we have a regular team meeting on video. And so that again allows us to be seen again.
So I didn't want to cut over you this time. So I'll let you, let you. Okay. So I wanted to, I love that idea of Friday huddles. That is an amazing idea, because so many leaders and supervisors and team leads are struggling at all organizational levels to figure out, how do we keep that camaraderie? And I think that Friday huddle is an outstanding idea, Glennis. Kudos. I wanted to clap, so I'm going to do it now.
Thank
That's
you.
a great idea. And I'm quite certain there are going to be people on this call that say, you know what? I'm setting up a Friday huddle. If you're interested, that's something you're going to be doing, just put in there, just type Friday huddle in there, because you can take it back. Yep. So I see people. Yep. Clap. Love the teams. Yep. So that's what you're going to see. You're going to see people saying, yes, this is helping. Right. That's a great idea. Because I think a lot of people are going to say, that was a light bulb that went on for a lot of people right there. Excellent, excellent answer. So
nice.
let me ask another question.
Mhm.
Okay, there are individuals who won't apply for a new role because they don't feel like they have all the skills or all the qualifications or all the prerequisites, and they just won't because they may be missing something or they don't think enough of themselves. Why would they ever choose me? What would you say to those individuals?
One thing that I would say to those individuals is if you have at least 80 or 85% of what they're asking for in the role, then you should apply. No one is going to have every single attribute that's there. So I definitely would suggest that you take the opportunity to still apply. But in addition to that, you also need to learn something about that department, because that's going to take you a little step further. So if you don't have all the full everything that you need, you also let them know that you're coachable and that you are able to learn, and then also be able to let them know that you already know some things that's going on with their company, with that position rather. So that's going to give you a little bit more leeway.
I think those are excellent answers. I'm jotting them down. I love how you said if you got 80 or 85%, go for it. Because one of my things is what's the worst that can happen, right? They can say no. And you've
Right.
already got that. If you don't have the role now, guess what? You already got that. So if you got 80 to 85%, go for it. And if you go for it, the worst that happens is you go through an interview process and you learn a little bit more. I love how you said, get to know the company, get to know the role, get to know the department, because that's how you take control by doing the research, putting your name in the hat, as it were, and going for it. That's how you're going to do it. Great ideas, great observations. So as a supervisor, you're presented with several obstacles on any given day, right? Can you explain any guiding principles that you have that you follow daily to keep you productive and accomplishing your goals?
Well, it is a few things that kind of keep me balanced. And one of those things is to make sure that you prioritize. So you have to determine the urgency of whatever the obstacle is that's coming in so that you can take care of that. But in the same notion, make sure that you have a plan so that nothing else falls by the wayside. So you have to determine its urgency. Another thing is definitely learn to delegate. You have to have someone that you know that you can count on that can assist you in getting the job done and do it right. So you have to know how to kind of delegate some things out. And then lastly, make sure that you're giving yourself a realistic time goal. You don't want to give anything that you can't meet. And so, of course, it's better to under-promise and over-deliver, which is going to set you up for success.
Absolutely. Those are great answers. And I'm pretty sure, I see people saying, love it, delegate, because you basically say prioritize, delegate, and set a time frame so that you can succeed because we try to do so much every day. We walk in and you, me, we all have 55,000 things on an ever-growing to-do list. And that alone, especially with everything else, can feel like it's beating you up. So what you just said was look at that list, prioritize it, get the things done you need to get done, delegate what you can't do, and then make sure that you're not trying to do so much in a day that you forget, hey, guess what? I got all month to get some of this stuff done.
Yes.
Nice, nice. Has that increased as you've become a supervisor? Has your workload gone up? I know it sounds like an obvious question, right? But has anything shifted from a stress work perspective, still kind of doubling down on this question, once you moved into the role of supervisor?
Well, the workload has definitely increased. And I think it's really because, I have stepped out of my comfort zone and I'm taking on more challenges myself. So in addition to me taking on more challenges and more projects, there are also things that come up daily, the obstacles that we're talking about. So definitely that happens. Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask another question. Let me ask another one. Yeah. Yep. They're determine the urgency, prioritize. See, they're writing your stuff, your words in the chat here. So, Glennis, you're having a huge impact on everybody who's watching right now. Let me ask another question. What is the best piece of advice that you were given that you could pass on to someone else pursuing a leadership role?
Best piece of advice that I was given. Well, it is actually a couple of things, but one of them we kind of already touched base on, and that was being comfortable with being uncomfortable. The other one is it's okay to be vulnerable. Knowing that there are going to be times when you're going to be vulnerable, and being vulnerable just really allows everyone to see the human side of you. You're not a machine, you are, down to earth. So that vulnerability really helps. And then also, you will fail at some point. And so knowing that you will fail at some point, it's all about how you get up, how you bounce back, your resilience. So those are three things that have really resonated with me.
So these are great. Vulnerability, understanding you're going to fail. But what do you say? I'm gonna take you a little bit off here. I'm gonna say, what do you say to the person that says, of course, I'm never gonna fail. That's not gonna happen. How does it, what do you say to them?
Wow. Well, you will let them know what I hope that you don't ever fail. But, the reality is, when we think that something should be one way and it really is supposed to be another way, and it happens to the best of us. And when it happens, it's just all about you remembering, how to get up and to make it right and to continue to push forward.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. You fall down, you get up, you brush yourself off, you keep moving forward. And it's in those failures that we often learn the most, right? Our culture has set us up to think failure is this bad thing, when in actuality, most of the things we learn and remember and that change us and shape us came from really difficult moments when we kind of face planted and had to kind of regroup afterwards. So let me see. I am going to ask, I believe with this one, we're out of time unless other people have some questions. So you've touched on your comfort zone, getting out of your comfort zone. You've touched on how that's important. Let me ask Glennis, what does Glennis do to move herself out of her comfort zone on a regular basis?
Well, one thing is actually doing this panel.
Nice.
No, but seriously, no. One thing is I have, this panel is one of the things, because it's definitely out of my comfort zone. And me doing the Thrive panel that I did last year, that was my first time doing it, and that was really way out of my comfort zone. Another thing that I've actually done is I've joined Toastmasters. And so that's really put me on the spot, because it's making me think on my feet. So one of the things that we do in the Toastmasters class is that they'll give us a word, and we have to give a 1 to 2 minute speech right there on the spot of whatever that word is. So it's helping me with my communication. It's helping me to speak better with an audience, and it's making me think a little bit better on my feet. So those are definitely things that are helping.
Excellent. Like you said, and I don't want it to be lost on anyone. You said it, then you took it away, and I want to bring it back. You kind of brought it back, but what you're doing right now is out of your comfort zone. So what we're seeing right now is Glennis thriving outside of her comfort zone. And that's the problem with comfort zones. They're so warm and cozy that we never think we can thrive outside of them. But the funny thing is we grow outside of our comfort zone. You don't learn anything new in your comfort zone. So this being the first thing you said, that is amazing that you're doing this, and this is your comfort zone. You said my comfort zone is miles away from here, but I'm doing this anyway. And that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yes.
Let's see. Let me ask the moderators, do we have time for any more questions? Because I know we were on a time scale. I just want to make sure. They have said nothing, so I'm going to ask another question. And We're back in the room. So I feel like there should be like Jeopardy music going on in the background.
Hey, Dr. Arrington, we've got about 20 more minutes. So I think probably 10 more minutes, questions maybe. So unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah. And if you have questions for Glennis, please drop them in the chat and let us know, because we'll get your questions in here as well. So let me ask you another question here, Glennis. How has your relationship with your coworkers changed since you became a leader, since you became a new leader?
Okay. Well, it has changed a bit, and in a sense where, that you're coming from being a peer and now you're, their leader. So that's the difference. And with me, so I was actually on the team as, a peer. And then I went to be a team lead, and I still stayed in the same department, but just kind of moved over to another team. And then I became the supervisor back for the same team that I initially was on before. So relationships did change, but I think that one thing that was kind of the saving grace was that I didn't come directly from that team. I didn't stay as a lead on that team. I had a chance to move away for just a little while and then come back. But, there had been times where, someone may ask me some information that they know that I can't discuss. And there have been times where people will see just how far they can go if they can push the envelope just a little bit. But one thing that I just like to say to all the new leaders, anybody, your real friends aren't going to do that to you. They're not going to put you in that situation. And on the flip side, don't allow yourself to get caught up in that either. So yes, relationships have changed, but I'm sorry, I'd cut you off. I'm sorry.
You're not cutting me
off.
But as far as go ahead, keep talking.
The team that I have is wonderful. I have not had any issues, and we have a great camaraderie.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that you said, don't let them put you in that position, because people that try to leverage their personal relationship with you for political and professional gain, they may throw you under the bus later. You already said it. They're not your friends. Right. I'm just kind of unpacking. They're not your friends. Right. So I think that's excellent. I want to ask another question. Yep. Somebody's saying right now, I went through the same thing when I became a leader of my Navy Reserve unit. As a female in a female leader in a male dominated industry. So buckle up for this one. Do you feel you have to work twice as hard to be recognized for your accomplishments?
Wow. I think I'm going to say, I'm not sure if I work twice as hard, but I'm definitely working just as hard. There are times when it is uncomfortable, or so I guess I am, because there are times when you do feel like you have to do a little bit more. So we already know it is a fact that women leaders are held at different standards than men leaders. So, that's kind of a fact. And women have been looked at for ages as just being nurturing and caregivers. And maybe that's a reason why we're looked at differently. But, we wear so many hats. We are leaders, we're influencers, we're strategists, we are decision makers. So we really do so much more and bring so much more to the table. And for me, I think that when I'm actually in a meeting or on a call when it's all males, I do feel like I have to be a little bit more assertive or more aggressive just to make sure my point gets across. But as far as working as hard, I'm not sure, because I'm still trying to do those projects and trying to step out of my comfort zone and do other things. So, and then with Cox being, so diverse now, I think it's really beginning to overcome that stigma of a male dominating industry here.
So perhaps the twice as hard was it was a little far for you, but you could say you felt like, yeah, it does feel that at times there's a little bit more resistance. There's a little bit more, you have to push a little bit harder than perhaps your colleagues would have to push in order to receive the same kind of accolades, to get to the same level playing field, right? Yeah. And I think you're being very kind. And I know that it's not just a Cox thing. It's a cultural thing throughout the entire United States. Western culture does that. So you're not alone in that. And just hearing that you are pushing in spite of all that is encouraging, because there are people right now that are like, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm going to get there. And I know if this is just what I have to do. One of my favorite, I can see his face. It's an actor. He says, Samuel L. Jackson, one of the best quotes of his is, they told me I had to be twice as good as everybody else. So he was like, game on, let's do it. And so I completely messed up the quote, but that was the gist of it. Right. So he basically said, if that's what I have to do, then that's what I have to do. And he's one of the most prolific actors in Hollywood today. So let me toss another one at you. What prepared you most for transitioning into a leadership role? And I'm going to, and take that as the second part. What are you doing now to transition into your next role?
Okay. So, as far as me transitioning into my leadership role, so that kind of goes back to one of the other questions, where me being the, on the team, then the lead and all of that. And so in order to get to the role that I'm in now, I actually, like I've said earlier, is I, let my supervisor know what I was interested in. I did take on special projects. I assisted with the new hires in learning some of our processes. And so I was just trying to get that visibility out there. As far as what I'm doing now,
Come on, spill the tea.
definitely, I am involved in more projects. I am networking a lot more. I'm building my brand. So I'm just really trying to put myself out there so that I can be seen. So again, because it's all about who knows you. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. Can you, because I'm squeezing time now. So when you say you're networking now, what does that look like in a virtual world? Because I know a lot of people struggle with, okay, I could network, I could knock on someone's door before, or I could schedule time, sit in their office, or take them out to coffee or something. How are you networking effectively in a virtual context?
I hope that it's effectively, because I do from time to time just reach out to others that I haven't seen or talked to in a while, just to kind of keep in touch, let them know, hey, I'm still out here, and to just see how everything's going, anything new going on in the department. So I do kind of just reach out on chat just to, let them know that I'm still here, and hope, I know that you're still there, and just keep in touch.
Nice. That is what people need to understand. Just because we can't physically get together, it doesn't mean you can't still create and grow relationships. Another quick way I would just share is call them up, like you're doing with your Friday huddles. People, remember that was an awesome one. Friday huddles, like with your Friday huddles, basically just call people up and schedule a Zoom conversation. Say, hey, I just want to hang out. And I just want to get to know you a little bit better. People will resonate to that, because everyone else is struggling. Everyone is struggling with the same thing. I got one question here. Let me see. I'm reading this for the first time. So Glennis, it's you and me on this one, right? So we got one here.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, here, somebody, thank you. Someone got the Samuel L. Jackson quote for me. The best advice that was given to me was I had to be 10 times smarter, braver, and more polite to be equal. So I did. Thank you so much, Sequoia. I told you, I caught the gist of it, people, the gist. But yeah. How do you nurture employees who are complacent plus show no interest in growing? You see potential in them to do more. Do you feel like leaving the employee in their state hurts your growth in management? That's a question that came to you, and that's probably going to be one of the last ones we have.
Wow.
Did you want me to repeat it? Because there was a lot in there.
It was a lot. Go ahead. Yes, please repeat it.
How do you nurture employees who are complacent plus show no interest in growing, so complacent? You see potential in them to do more. Do you feel like leaving the employee in their state hurts your growth in management?
Well, and I guess I'll start with the back half. I don't feel like it hurts my stature as a manager, because there are some of those people who just are happy with where they are and they don't want to do anything else. However, it is still my job to try to get you to that next level in case someday you decide that, hey, I do want to do something else. So what I continue to do is I continue to push motivational videos that I do every team meeting. I continue to send positive quotes and things that are going to get you to think differently and change your mindset. And then I also, you know, when I have special things that come up or little projects, I make sure that I take turns giving them to people throughout the team because I want everybody to have their fair share to be seen. So I do have a few things, you know, that I try to push upon people without them really knowing it's being pushed upon them. So maybe they know now.
Excellent, excellent. And those are great, like they're saying in the chat, great observations, great advice. And yeah, you just because you're a leader doesn't mean everybody on your team wants to be led. And that's often a misnomer. It's often a rude awakening for new leaders walking in, wondering why people don't want to follow, right? Because I may not want to be led by you. Maybe I wanted the job. A lot of stuff that goes in there. You keep giving it, and if they take it, they take it. Exactly. You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. And over time, you do your best, and that's part of leadership. So yeah. Are there any other questions in the last moment? Oh, wait. Yep, we're in Q&A right now. So does anyone else have any questions they'd like to pose in the chat for Glennis? Are you ready for the lightning round, Glennis? This is the lightning round. This is where it all happens right here, right now.
All right.
All the as no one's typing. Okay, here's one. Hold on. Okay, Glennis, we all hear about work-life balance, but as a cancer survivor, you have obviously had a great deal you were dealing with in your personal life. Was that your key to not losing focus on your work / career while also facing such emotionally draining personal situations?
Wow. So that's a good question. You know, to really discuss cancer, I'm still a little emotional, so I'll try not to get that way. But it absolutely was the driving force for me to be where I am now. And I feel like it's made me push harder. And I feel like that because, you know, you can't let things like that beat you or get you down, because once, you know, you do that, then it's like it's won. Cancer's won. So I have to let it know that you didn't win. And so it has pushed me harder to do a little bit more than what I used to do.
Thank you.
So sorry for that. Yes.
You don't need to, you do not. I told you, this is just you and me. We're just talking here. It's just you and me. But that's
all right.
That is, I know the emotional strength it took to get those words out. And look at the chat. The chat is appreciating your vulnerability, appreciating your honesty and your transparency. So you don't need to apologize for that. It's real. That's a big thing for you. Yeah, there's a lot of love hitting you in the chat right now. I don't know if you're looking at it, but you should.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions? See, Glennis, you're a rock star. Love you, Glennis. Thank you, Glennis. She's an awesome supervisor and person all the way around.
Thank you, everybody.
You're already getting your applause right now, girl. Survivor, God bless you. Thank you for sharing. So proud of you, Glennis. Does anyone else have, as we're bringing it to a close, and this is just the Glennis love fest right now, happening right now, which is awesome. Does anybody else have any questions? You're more inspirational than you realize. I want to read this one out loud. You're more inspirational than you realize. Your impact lives more than you think. Also, great job, Glennis. We, the receivables management team, is lucky to have her. Thank you for sharing. So this is what people are saying in the chat right now. So like you said earlier, vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's fundamentally a strength, and never let anyone use it against you. That's what I would say. Never let anyone use your vulnerability against you, because they'll try to use it just because that's the way our culture is, right? We're supposed to never let them see you sweat, but vulnerability is strength. Whoop whoop for the red lipstick. I see. Go Glennis. All about mindset. Let me see. We've got about a minute or so more. If anyone has another question. Yep, we have to close out. I'm being told, they are telling me right now, Dr. Harrington, we have to close out. So we don't have any more time for questions. I'm going to turn it back over for closing remarks. I believe that you guys will have that. I see it's I'm not sure if Vanya's ready at this point, but I know that's where we're going.
I'm ready.
There you go. Okay, cool. I want to make sure. I didn't want to just toss it to you and you're like, I didn't know. So there you go.
No worries. It's great to see you, Dr. Arrington, again. And Glennis, thank you for your phenomenal story and testimony. You have moved us all. So I have the honor of closing us out, and I want to do that by, again, thanking Dr. Arrington and Glennis, all of our NAMIC Virginia members and non-members who attended today's session. I hope you were as moved as I and others have been. I'm going to share with you, we have a host of great content coming up in February, March, and beyond. So I'm going to run through a couple of things with you relatively quickly. And you can check us out on all of our social media to get more details. If you loved what we experienced today, which I'm hoping you did, there's even more to come. So the next in the NAMIC Black History Month series is actually going to be sponsored by the Atlanta chapter on February 15th of this month. Again, you can follow us on our respective social media pages to get the details. But in some, it's called the King Effect, February 15th, again, 1:30 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check us out on social media to get more information on that. They even have a cool art auction that's going to be a part of that event. So make sure you check that out. The next event from a NAMIC Virginia perspective is called Step into Success, Redefining Your Wardrobe. And that's about how to use your own individual style to promote your brand and show up with confidence. And it's featuring Morgan Wilder. And that's going to be on February 25th from noon to 1:30 p.m. We have our annual NAMIC Virginia member meeting, which will be March 4th from 1 to 2 p.m. All these are Eastern Standard Time zones. And our signature event, Level Up, is going to be on March 10th. And that's in partnership with the NCTA and SCTE. And that program is entitled 10G, Looking Ahead to the Possibilities. And it's going to be at noon, and it features a fireside chat with Michael Powell, who is the president of the National Cable and Telecommunications Association, NCTA for short, and Phil McKinney, who is the CEO of Cable Labs. And that discussion will be moderated by Tony Stubbs, who is the Vice President of Technology, Engineering, and Operations for Cox, Virginia. So to learn more about all these events that I just shared with you and other events that will be forthcoming, please follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, we wish you all a phenomenal remainder of your day and week. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you at our next NAMIC event. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.